Good morning, America. Welcome to another Blue Mountain Morning, your daily dose of clarity in the chaos. It's Wednesday, March 26th, and I am feeling absolutely, positively electric today.
And I'm Mark, the slightly more grounded half of this duo. Alex has clearly had one too many cups of coffee already.
Oh, come on. The world is bursting with stories, Mark. How can you not be bouncing off the walls right now?
You know, most people actually want calm in the morning, not someone who sounds like they're about to launch into orbit.
Fair point. Hey, before we dive in, we've got to give a huge shout out to Lucy James from Kentucky, who's been telling all her friends about us. Lucy, you're amazing. Keep spreading that Blue Mountain love.
Absolutely. Thanks, Lucy. It's listeners like you who make this whole thing worthwhile.
All right, folks, it's time for today's Horizon, where we cut through the noise and give you what you actually need to know. First up, there's been this absolutely wild security breach at the White House that's got everyone talking.
Yes, in what can only be described as an embarrassing oversight, President Trump's national security officials accidentally invited a journalist into a Signal group chat where they were discussing military plans for Yemen airstrikes.
Wait, you're telling me they just added a random journalist to their secret war planning chat? That's like inviting the neighborhood gossip to your surprise party planning.
It's pretty remarkable. National Security Advisor Mike Waltz has taken full responsibility for the error, telling Fox News, "It's embarrassing. We're going to get to the bottom of it."
But get this, Trump and his intelligence chiefs are totally downplaying it. Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard and CIA Director John Ratcliffe both testified at a Senate hearing that no classified information was shared in the messages.
Though Democrats on the panel weren't buying it, calling the administration incompetent with national security matters.
Oh, and Mike Waltz said something interesting. When asked if he'd identified which staffer was responsible, he said a staffer wasn't responsible. So, who added the Atlantic's editor to the chat then?
Moving on to another story that's raising eyebrows, Vice President J.D. Vance has announced he'll be joining his wife Usha on a trip to Greenland this week.
Oh man, talk about awkward timing. This comes right as President Trump continues floating the idea of the United States trying to buy Greenland from Denmark. Remember that whole thing from his first term?
Exactly. And both Greenland and Denmark have repeatedly emphasized that the territory is not for sale. The initial announcement of the Second Lady's cultural visit received what reports called an icy reception.
I see what you did there, Mark. Very punny.
I couldn't resist. Our final headline this morning is about voting rights.
Right. President Trump signed a new executive order requiring prospective voters to show proof of citizenship to register to vote in federal elections.
This is a significant change that voting rights advocates are already claiming could potentially block millions of Americans from voting if fully implemented.
And they're saying Trump doesn't even have the legal authority to make these kinds of sweeping changes. So expect this to get challenged in court pretty quickly.
Which seems to be the pattern with many of these executive orders lately. We're back with Ripple Effects, where we look at how today's emerging trends might reshape our world tomorrow. And today, we're talking about a fascinating new career path that's taking off in the AI revolution.
Ooh, are we finally getting those flying cars? Robot butlers, mind-reading helmets?
Not quite that sci-fi, Alex, but possibly more important, we're looking at what some are calling AI whisperers or prompt engineers, people who specialize in talking to AI systems to get them to produce exactly what humans want.
Wait, so these people are basically translators between humans and machines? That sounds like something straight out of a movie.
That's actually a pretty good way to put it. As these AI systems like ChatGPT, Claude, and others become more powerful, there's a growing demand for people who know how to speak AI, crafting the perfect instructions or prompts to get these systems to deliver useful outputs.
So you're telling me people are getting paid just to ask AI questions better than the rest of us? I feel like I've been doing that for free.
It's a bit more complex than just asking questions. Good prompt engineers understand the underlying architecture of AI systems, their limitations, and how to phrase requests in ways that yield optimal results. They're part psychologist, part programmer, and part creative writer.
Okay, but seriously, how much are these AI whisperers making? Because I think I might have found my calling.
Some specialized prompt engineers are commanding salaries between $175,000 to $335,000 at major tech companies. But what's really interesting is that this isn't just for tech experts. We're seeing writers, marketers, even teachers developing these skills.
Holy cow, that's more than my entire apartment building makes combined. And you're saying regular people without fancy computer science degrees can do this?
That's one of the most fascinating aspects of this trend. Unlike traditional programming, which requires years of technical education, prompt engineering is more accessible to people with diverse backgrounds. Someone with a humanities degree who understands language nuance might actually have an advantage.
So wait, this could be a whole new economic opportunity for people who've been left behind by previous tech waves?
Potentially, yes. It's democratizing tech work in a way we haven't seen before, and companies are taking notice. Organizations from healthcare to finance to creative industries are hiring people who can effectively work with AI systems.
But I've got to ask, isn't this just a temporary thing? Won't AI eventually get so good that it won't need human translators?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Some experts believe prompt engineering is a transitional field that might eventually become obsolete as AI becomes more intuitive. Others think there will always be a need for humans who can bridge the gap between human intention and machine execution.
So what should our listeners take away from this? Should they all start taking prompt engineering courses tonight?
What's important to understand is that this represents a fundamental shift in how we think about job skills. The ability to collaborate effectively with AI systems is becoming valuable across virtually every industry.
It's kind of like when computers first showed up in offices, right? Eventually, everyone had to learn basic computer skills, even if they weren't computer people.
Exactly. And I think we're going to see a similar pattern with AI. The skills that prompt engineers are developing now, understanding how AI systems interpret language, knowing their limitations, and being able to iterate on instructions, those are becoming essential workplace competencies.
So it's not just about this one specific job title, but about a whole new set of skills everyone might need.
Right. And what makes this particularly American is how it's creating opportunities for people to reinvent themselves professionally. We're seeing former retail workers, teachers, even truck drivers pivoting into these roles because the barrier to entry is lower than traditional tech jobs.
That's actually pretty hopeful in a landscape where a lot of people are worried about AI taking their jobs.
Indeed, it reminds us that technological revolutions don't just eliminate jobs, they create new ones we couldn't have imagined before. The question is whether we'll adapt our education systems and workforce development programs quickly enough to help people make these transitions.
Well, there you have it, folks. If you've been thinking about a career change, maybe it's time to start whispering to some AIs.
And now we come to my favorite part of our show, the Morning Whisper, a moment to breathe and center ourselves before tackling the day ahead.
Oh, thank goodness. My brain needs this after hearing about all those AI whisperers making six figures. I'm still processing.
Today I want you to picture a leaf floating down a stream. That's it, just a single maple leaf caught in the gentle current.
Wait, that's it? Just watching a leaf? No guided meditation app? No subscription required?
No apps needed, Alex. Nature has been providing the perfect meditation tools since long before smartphones. Notice how that leaf doesn't fight the current. It simply allows itself to be carried.
I'm actually seeing it now, the way it just goes with the flow. Not stressing about where it's heading.
Exactly. When we find ourselves overwhelmed by the day's news cycle or work demands, we can be like that leaf. We don't have to control everything. Sometimes the wisest response is to simply observe what's happening and let yourself move through it.
You know, I've been fighting some currents lately that maybe I should just float through instead.
That's the spirit. Remember, listeners, being carried by the stream doesn't mean being passive. It means trusting that you have the resilience to navigate whatever comes your way.
Well, that's all we've got for you today on Blue Mountain Morning. I feel weirdly zen now, like a leaf on a stream, just floating along.
And that's exactly how we hope you'll start your day. Calm, centered, and ready for whatever comes your way.
If you enjoyed today's episode, do us a huge favor and tell literally everyone you know about us. Your friend at work, your neighbor, that random person at the coffee shop.
Or maybe just share it with people you actually know, like Lucy James from Kentucky did. Thanks, Lucy.
And hey, if you want your own shout-out, drop us a line at bluemountainmorningpodcast@gmail.com.
We'll be back tomorrow with more news, more insights, and more moments of clarity.
See you then, mountain climbers.